Okay, so we are now starting lecture 3 of the Ecstasy of Rita Joe, and we are going to start from where we have left in the last video. That is where Jamie Paul starts to fade in her memory, and Rita Joe was able to regain her senses back. Right? So now the magistrate, she is able to listen to magistrate, and is able to see the magistrate as well. Okay, magistrate, vagrancy. You are charged with vagrancy. वेग्रेंसी मतलब होमलेसनेस, वैगाबॉन्ड टाइप से आप इधर उधर घूमते रहते हो। बंजारे जिसको कहते हैं आप लोग बंजारे को देखते हो, फॉर एग्जांपल व्हेन यू गो फ्रॉम दिस थिंग एनी चौराहा सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग, तो वहाँ पे कुछ लोग भीख मांगते रहते हैं विथ ब्राइट और मे बी सम वेरी डार्क कलर्ड this thing lehengas, sort of skirts and beautiful pretty blouses and big orni and everything, right, and big silver jewelries and everything. So these women, they are banjarans, right? So बंजारों की तरह इधर उधर घूमते रहते, दैट मीन्स यूजलेसली यू मूव अबाउट हेयर एंड देयर। वेग्रेंसी, सो दिस इज व्हाट यू मीन बाय वेग्रेंसी। जब आप वैगाबॉन्ड एक बंजारे की तरह इधर उधर घूमते रहते हो, राइट, दैट मीन्स यू डू नॉट हैव अ होम, यूर होमलेस पर्सन। वेग्रेंसी, यू आर चार्ज्ड विद वेग्रेंसी। ना वाई, लाइक वेग्रेंसी का मतलब भिखारी नहीं होता है, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड। वेग्रेंसी जिसके पास घर नहीं होता है, एंड दैट पर्सन इज loitering about here and there so that this person can commit some or the other crime uh, someday. Okay, so that means that person is planning. It can be, that person can be accused of planning something, right? For example, जैसे मान लीजिए अगर कोई, अब यहाँ पे एक और चीज़ यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट दीज पीपल, द इंडिजिनस पीपल वर गिवन इंडियन रिजर्व्स ऑल्सो. I have told you about this thing in your first video also, where I introduced this play to you. Indian reserves are the places where these people, the people who have some sort of authority, they have kept these people, they have given these people a piece of land, and they have asked them to live in that particular land. Like that means they are confined, these indigenous people are confined to that piece of land. They can't just go and reside anywhere, इनको वहीं पे रहना है. Okay, so they have been given a particular place. Now that particular place might not be a very good place to live. Maybe the circumstances in that particular area must not be that good, but then these people have given them this particular area so that they can reside over there, and they do not commit some or the other crime they did in their day-to-day lives. Okay, and that is why they have given them some space to reside. Okay, their conditions might not be good, but then they are residing in that particular area. Okay, so they're confined in that particular area. Okay, so vagrancy. Now Rita Jo, because she was arrested on the road, that is why she is being accused of एक vagrancy है. ओके, याद है पुलिस ने उसको बीच रात में पकड़ के उठा करके ले गया था, जो भी है अरेस्ट कर लिया था, पहले कार में बैठाया, एंड देन दे गेव हर सम $5 एंड देन $5, एंड देन दे arrested her. That is how the Rita Jo came, right? Okay, vagrancy. You are charged with vagrancy. Recalled हो रहा है? Yes. Jamie, with enthusiasm, boyishly. First $100 I make, Rita Jo. I'm gonna buy a car so I can take you every place. Now, try to understand that even though she is now in the court mentally also, but still she is listening to whatever has happened when she was with Jamie. For example, suppose मैंने अगर आपसे कह दिया कि do not think about an elephant. Okay, do not think about an elephant. तुरंत सबके दिमाग में एलिफेंट आ रहा होगा, राइट? एंड इट डजेंट मैटर कि मैं अभी रीता अभी पूरा ये पेज फिनिश कर लूँ, स्टिल यू विल हैव इमेजेस ऑफ एलिफेंट इन योर माइंड, राइट? बार बार आपके दिमाग में एलिफेंट का कोई ना कोई इमेज आएगा. मे बी यू विल सी ब्यूटीफुल एलिफेंट ड्रेप्ड इन रेड ड्रेस, जो अच्छे से सजा वजा के हाथी को रखते हैं ना, वो देखो। और मे बी यू कैन गेट एन इमेज ऑफ लॉर्ड गणेशा, राइट। तो इस तरह से कुछ ना कुछ एलिफेंट का आते रहेगा, तब कुछ देर तक तो एटलीस्ट आएगा ही, until unless you forget that particular incident, you forget that thing, तब तक वो आते रहेगा, राइट। तो सेम इज हैपनिंग ओवर है। इवन दो रीता इज राइट नाउ mentally also in the court now, still she can listen to what happened earlier, what had happened earlier with Jamie, how Jamie was so enthusiastic, like he was enthusiastically telling her he was able to get a room in the city, and then how even got a job in the city। तो ये सारी चीज़ उसके दिमाग में घूम रही थी। ओके, एंड ये सारी चीज़ें क्यों घूम रही है? बिकॉज रिमेंबर, मजिस्ट्रेट ने कहा, क्या 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 कहा था, दैट इट इज़ एम्प्लॉयड पीपल who make the nation prosperous। One second, let me show you that particular line where he said it. And Rita had drawn his attention by saying that even I work at some jobs। Yes, see, first paragraph, last two lines, employed happy people make for a prosperous happy nation। That is why Rita is thinking about what kind of nation they are living in, how employed they are, and how Jamie was also an employed person and still he was struggling। Okay, and that is why she is uh, getting a reverie of everything that happened। Okay, रेवरी मतलब वही ड्रीम टाइप के, ड्रीमी वे में उसके दिमाग में सब कुछ घूम रहा है कि जेमी भी ही वाज employed somewhere, but then finally what happened to him। Okay, so everything is going on। Okay, at the same time, Jamie, ये तो हो गया। First $100 I make, Rita Joe, I'm gonna buy a car so I can take you every place। Rita, moving after him, Jamie, he retreats dreamlike into the wings, the spell of memory between them is broken। So now finally Rita is completely back in the this things courtroom। Okay, अब ये जेमी का थॉट पूरी तरीके से जा चुका है। Why? Because Jamie was like he started to retreat backward। ये ऊपर वाले में देखो लिखा है ना, he started to retreat backward, but then he hasn't yet left her। So finally left her memories, in fact we can say it is finally now that Rita is able to cope up from his memories। Okay, so the spell of memory between them is broken, pools of light between her and magistrate is spread and fuse into a single light area। Rita turns to the magistrate, worried and confused. Magistrate, reading the documents in his hand. The charge against you this morning is vagrancy। The magistrate continues studying the papers he holds. Rita Jo looks up at him and shakes her head helplessly, then blurts out to him, Rita, I had to spend last night in jail. Did you know? Magistrate, yes, you were arrested। Rita, I didn't know when morning came. There was no windows. The jail stinks. People in jail stink. So now Rita is trying to draw magistrate's attention towards the condition of the jail where she was kept last night। Okay, कितने inhuman way में उसको रखा गया था, that there were no windows in her cell, no windows uh, in her jail, in the jail where she was kept। Okay, so this also gives us an idea कि when these indigenous people were imprisoned, what kind of jail they were sent to। Okay, the jail was stinking, people in the jail were stinking। Magistrate indulgently, yes, are you surprised? Rita, I didn't know anybody there. People in jail stink like paper that has been in the rain too long. But a jail stinks worse. It stinks of rust and old hair। Magistrate, looking down at her for the first time, you are Rita Joe? She nods quickly. A faint concern shows in his face. He watches her for a long moment. So far, Magistrate has not even raised his eyes to see Rita Joe. Understand this thing. He turned towards Rita Jo. He did everything, but then he never saw Rita Jo. It is now only that he is able to see who actually is Rita Jo. Okay, so far he had only been accustomed to her presence, but then वो उसका मुंह नहीं देख रहा था. So it is now only that he is able to see कि रीता जो खड़ी हुई है, and then he faces her. Okay, so that is why he is asking, you are Rita Jo. So the gap between this you and R, this shows that he must be thinking something after saying you and then R Rita Jo. He was thinking something. Okay. She nods quickly, a faint concern shows in his face. He watches her for a long moment, so still he is thinking. Magistrate, I know your face, yet it wasn't in this courtroom. Or was it? Rita, I don't know. Magistrate, pondering, have you appeared before me in the past year? Rita, turning away from him, shrugging, I don't know. I can't remember. The magistrate throws his head back and laughs. The policeman joins in. Magistrate, you can't remember? Come now. Rita, laughing with him and looking to the policeman. I can't remember. Magistrate, then I take it you haven't appeared before me. Certainly, you and I would remember if you had. Rita, smiling, I don't remember. The magistrate makes some hurried notes, but he is watching Rita Jo, formulating his next thought. Rita. So now she naively says, my sister hitchhiked home and she had no trouble like I. Magistrate. You will need witnesses, Rita Jo. I am only giving you 8 hours to find witnesses for yourself. Rita. Jamie knows. So what she says is, Rita over here says is that my sister has also hitchhiked home. Hitchhiked home means that she took lift from people. Okay, for going to home, for returning back to home, but she never faced trouble the way she is facing right now, the way she faced last night. Okay, to which the magistrate says that you will need witnesses, Rita Jo. That means you'll have to prove that you are not guilty. You'll prove that you are not a vagabond sort of woman, and that you have a home. So for that, I'm giving you 8 hours. So the magistrate is giving her only 8 hours to find witnesses for herself, so that she would be able to get rid of that guilty thing that she is into. Okay. कहाँ गया? Jamie knows. She turns to where Jamie Paul had been, but the back of the stage is in darkness. The policeman exits suddenly. So now understand this thing कि रीता के लिए सब कुछ, जेमी जब उससे बात उसकी मेमोरी में चल रहा था तो उसको लग रहा था वो सामने ही खड़ा है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अभी मैंने हाथी का एग्जाम्पल दिया था, तो आपको हाथी एकदम आँख के सामने दिख रहा था, राइट? यू वर एबल टू विजुअलाइज दैट हाथी राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू. So same is the case with Rita also. Rita was able to visualize Jamie at the front only. उसको अपने एकदम सामने, उसको लगा कि जेमी यहीं पे खड़ा है. Okay. So now she turns to where Jamie Paul had been. उसको लगा कि यहीं पे तो था, पलट के देखिए, and then he was not there. Why? Because he was actually not there. He was just in the memories of Rita Jo. But the back of the stage is in darkness. The policeman exits suddenly. Rita. Jamie knew. So now she says, see the difference. Jamie knows. Earlier she thought that Jamie is there on itself. But now she says Jamie knew. यानी कि Jamie को पता था. Her voice trails off pathetically. The magistrate shrugs and returns to studying his notes. Rita Jo chafes during the silence that follows. She craves communion with people, with the magistrate. Chafes in matlab, like she was very much annoyed and angry. Okay, why? Because nobody was like, the magistrate was not paying attention to her. He shrugged and returned back to his notes. Like, that means he has no concern for Rita, and that is why she's annoyed. Okay, and she is craving communion with people. So she wants to have like have a connection with the people, at least with the magistrate, but then she is unable to do this thing. So now Rita says, my sister was a dressmaker, mister, but she only worked 2 weeks in the city. And then she got sick and went back to the reserve to help my father catch fish and cut pulpwood. Smiling. She is not coming back, that's for sure. So reserve, like I've told you, they were kept in Indian reserves, right? ऐसी जगह जहाँ पे इन लोग को रहने के लिए जगह दी गई थी. The conditions might not be that good, but then they were given this place to reside. So now she's telling about her sister who was a dressmaker, जिसके बारे में बताया था कि लिफ्ट लेके घर चली जाया करती थी, लेकिन उसको कभी ऐसी कोई दिक्कत नहीं आई थी. So now she is telling about her sister that she was a dressmaker, but then because she was a native Indian person, because she was an indigenous girl, that is why nobody uh, gave her any work. Okay, that was how outcasted she had been in the community. She only worked 2 weeks in the city and then she got sick and went back to reserve to help my father catch fish. She sick, by getting sick it doesn't mean कि वो बीमार पड़ गई थी. It's that कि उसको लगा कि यार क्यों है यहाँ पे. Okay, I'm sick and tired कहते हैं ना, तो that is how she felt, and that is why she returned back to her home, to the reserve there where she had her father and the family, and where she started catching fish and cutting pulpwood for sorry, with father. Okay, she is not coming back, that's for sure. Magistrate, with interest, should I know your sister? What was her name? Rita, Eileen Joe. Now, the moment Rita says Eileen Joe, in her memory, Eileen Joe appears. Eileen Joe stage पे दिखाई पड़ रही है, but then she is not in the courtroom. Remember this thing. It is just that she has, after saying the name Eileen Joe, Rita Joe के दिमाग में Eileen Joe की सारी बातें याद आ गई. Okay, and now we are going to see a conversation, I think. No, not here. Okay, ठीक है. So now she is coming to her memory. धीरे धीरे आएगी. Fine. So Rita Jo, Eileen Jo appears spotlight behind a memory crowding in. So memories started to crowd in. Memories of Eileen Jo started to crowd in Rita's head. Magistrate, Eileen. That's a soft, undulating name. Rita. 2 weeks, and not one white woman came to her to leave an order or old clothes for her to fix. No work at all for 2 weeks, and her money ran out. Isn't that funny? So like I told you, उसको कोई job ही नहीं मिला. किसी ने उसके पास अपना ड्रेस लेके नहीं. She was a dressmaker by profession, but nobody came to her. Right? She might be charging way too less, but still nobody came to her. And that is why, after getting sick and tired, she left the city. She returned back to her home, to Indian reserves. Okay. Magistrate, again studying Rita Joe, his mind elsewhere. Ellen Jo disappears. So now, because she is indulged into a different narrative, that is why she has forgotten Eileen Jo. Okay, so whatever memory that has started to crowd in of Eileen Jo, that has again retreated back. Okay, Rita. So she went back to the reserve to catch fish and cut pulpwood. Magistrate, I do know your face. Yes, and yet, so can you see now here again that magistrate is not at all interested in Rita's story. He is having his own line of thought, right? He is not at all interested in what Rita Jo is telling him, sorry, right? Rita, can I sit someplace? Magistrate, excited. I remember now, yes. I was on holidays 3 summers back in the Caribou country, driving over this road with not a house or field in sight, just barren land, wild and windblown. And then I saw this child beside the road, dressed in a blouse and a skirt, barefooted. Rita, looking around. I don't feel so good, mister. Magistrate. My God. She wasn't more than 3 or 4 years old, walking toward me beside the road. When I'd passed her, I stopped my car and then turned round and drove back to where I'd seen her, for I wondered what she could possibly be doing in such a lonely country, at that age without her father or mother walking with her. When I got back to where I'd seen her, she had disappeared. She was nowhere to be seen, yet the land was flat for over a mile in every direction. I had to see her, but I couldn't. He stares down at Rita Joe for a long moment. You see, what I was going to say was that this child had your face. Isn't that strange? Rita, with disinterest. Sure, if you think so, Mr. Magistrate. Could she have been your daughter? Rita, what difference does it make? Magistrate, children cannot be left like that. It takes money to raise children in the woods as in the cities. There are institutions and people with more money you could than you who could. Rita, nobody would get my child, mister. So now now the magistrate is again lecturing Rita कि children should not be left like this. It needs money. You might need money. जितना गांव में पैसा लगता है उतना ही सिटी में भी पैसा लगता है. So you should go and ask for help from these institutions and people who has got more money so that they can brought up those children of yours, that child of yours. Okay, but now what does Rita say? Rita says that no, nobody is going to get my child, mister. Now she is distracted by Eileen Joe's voice in her memory. Now, this is something which you should note. Why is she distracted by Eileen Joe's voice right now? Because that girl which the magistrate saw this 2 or 3 summers back in that field, it was actually Eileen Joe. And that is why Rita is seeing Eileen Joe in her memory. ठीक है, जैसे ही यहाँ पे बोला nobody would get my child, mister, she is saying this thing out of annoyance. She is very much annoyed and angry, and because of this reason गुस्से में वो कह रही है हाँ मेरा बच्चा किसी को नहीं मिलेगा. Okay, but it is not her child that she is thinking of. If she is thinking about Eileen Joe, which tells us that it is Eileen Joe who was in the field that day. Okay, so she is distracted by Eileen Joe's voice in her memory. Eileen's voice begins in darkness, but as she speaks, a spotlight isolates her in front of the ramp, stage left. Eileen is on her hands and knees, two buckets beside her. She is picking berries in mime. सो इन माइम मतलब ऐसा आपको दिखाई, जो भी नीचे ऑडियंस देख रहा है उनको लग रहा है कि वो कुछ बेरीज वगैरह पिक करे ज़मीन से, जहाँ से भी कर रही है. ठीक है, एंड शी इज़ कीपिंग दोज बेरीज इन द बकेट्स दैट शी हैज़ बिसाइड हर. ओके, सो एलिन सेज, so now Rita is now thinking of that particular day जिसके बारे में मैजिस्ट्रेट बातें कर रहा है. He must be thinking about that particular day or maybe some other day where they were picking those berries. ठीक है, एंड उसकी बातें कहाँ से है? बिकॉज मैजिस्ट्रेट हैज़ asked Rita about her child. Okay, now this again gives one more idea to us that maybe Rita and Eileen do not have a mother. For Eileen, Rita is mother, and that is why motherly figure, of course, not mother, motherly figure, and that is why, because they both are sisters by blood, that is why their face resembles. होता है ना, भाई बहन का face एक जैसा दिखता है, and that is why the judge has got confused, the magistrate has got confused. उसको लगा कि एलिन जो उस दिन 2-3 समर बैक, समर मतलब साल, ठीक है, साल में एक ही बार समर्स आता है, तो 2-3 साल बाद पहले जिस भी टाइम में मैजिस्ट्रेट ने देखा था उसको लगा कि ये छोटी सी लड़की है, बट एलिन इज़ अ बिग गर्ल. नाउ व्हाई डज ही बिलीव कि वो छोटी सी लड़की है? बिकॉज एलिन मस्ट बी मैल नरिश्ड. ठीक है, इसी वजह से उसको लगा कि कोई छोटी लड़की है, काफ़ी छोटी इसने बता दिया, बट देन क्योंकि वो इतनी ज़्यादा मैल नरिश थी इसी के लिए उसको लगा कोई छोटी लड़की है. ठीक, बट देन अब ऑफकोर्स 3 साल बाद शी इज़ अ ड्रेस मेकर एंड शी केम टू सिटी, तो 2-3 साल की तो नहीं उस टाइम में रही होगी. ठीक है, ओके, let's come back to the text. Rita, pleading with the magistrate, but her attention on Eileen. Let me go, mister. Magistrate, I can't let you go. I don't think that would be of any use in the circumstances. Would you like a lawyer? Even as he speaks, Rita Joe has entered the scene with Eileen picking berries. The magistrate's light fades on the podium. That means now Rita is no more paying any attention to what magistrate is saying. Even though magistrate, she's still in the court, but then she has the memories of Eileen Joe has crowded in her memories, and now she can't see the magistrate also. वो एलिन के बारे में ही सोच रही है. She is having a flashback of that particular day where Eileen and Rita, they both were indulged in picking those berries and keeping it in those two buckets that they had beside them. Okay, Rita, you ate the strawberries and blueberries because you were always a hungry kid. Eileen, but not cranberries. They made my stomach hurt. So now ये सारे चीज़ उसके memory में चल रहा है. She is still in the court. Rita is still in the court and Eileen is nowhere in the court. But then Rita के memory में she is seeing herself and Eileen picking up berries. Okay. Rita Jo goes down on her knees with Eileen. Rita, let me pick. You rest. Holding out the bucket to Eileen. Mine is full already. Let's change. You rest. Now, during the exchange of buckets, Eileen notices her hands are larger than Rita Joe's. She is both delighted and surprised by this. Eileen, my hands are bigger than yours, Rita. Look, taking Rita Joe's hands in hers. When did my hands grow so big? Now, as you can see, uh, Eileen के हाथ बड़े हैं. That shows कि Eileen is not a small child. She is a big girl. Okay, very much like Rita. Okay, Rita, wisely and sadly, you have worked so hard. I am older than you, Leanie. I will always be older. So it doesn't matter how big hands you've got. I will be older than you. Okay, this is what Rita is saying. There we were. Yeah. The two sisters are thoughtful for a moment, each watching the other in silence. Then Rita Jo becomes animated and resumes her mime of picking berries in the woods. Okay. So they restarted picking those berries that they were picking. Rita, we picked lots of wild berries when we were kids, Lini. They turn away from their work and lie down alongside each other, facing the front of the stage. The light on them becomes summery warm. Rita. In the summer, it was hot and flies hummed so loud you'd go to sleep if you sat down and just listen. Eileen. The leaves on the poplars used to turn black and curl together with the heat. Rita. One day, you and I were picking blueberries and a big storm came. Now, a sudden crash of thunder and a lightning flash. The lights turned cold and blue. The three murderers stand in silhouette on a riser behind them. Eileen cringes in fear, afraid of the storm, aware of the presence of the murderers behind them. Rita Jo springs to her feet, her being attached to the wildness of the atmosphere. Lightning continues to flash and flicker. Eileen, oh no! Rita shouting. It got cold and the rain and hail came. The sky falling. Eileen crying in fear. Rita! Rita laughing, shouting, stay there. A high flash of lightning salutes the murderers harshly. They take a step forward on the lightning flash. Eileen dashes into the arms of Rita Jo. She screams and drags Rita Jo down with her. Rita Jo struggles against Eileen. Rita, let me go. What in hell? What in hell's wrong with you? Let me go. So now Rita has started to shout in the courtroom. अभी वो courtroom में थी. बाकी सारी जितनी भी बातें हुई between Eileen and Rita, that was happening in her memories. फ्लैशबैक उसको आ रहे थे पुराने टाइम के. But right now, when Rita started to shout over here, let me go, what in hell's wrong with you, let me go. So it is the magistrate who is able to listen to this dialogue of hers, and he says that I can't let you go. The lightning dies, but the thunder rumbles off into the distance. Eileen subsides and pressing herself into the arms of Rita Jo. As a small child to her mother, she sobs quietly. So now this again says that Rita. One second. So now we get to see in the flashback of Rita Jo that Eileen is very much fearful of that particular storm, where she was even able to see those murderers around her. Murderers mean the omen of bad things that are about to happen. ठीक है, यहाँ पे murderers का मतलब यहाँ पे यही है. ठीक है, bad things, murderers actual में है वहाँ पे, but then it is, they are like ominous of something that is lurking behind them. Okay, something is bad, some bad thing is about to happen to them. Rita, there, with indefinite tenderness. You said to me, what would happen if the storm hurt us all, and we can't find our way home, but are lost together so far away in the bush? So now again, she is not saying a thing, a word to the magistrate or in the courtroom. She is having a flashback of what she said on that particular day. ओके, वो कुछ यहाँ पे नहीं बोल रही है, ये सब उसके मेमोरी में चल रहा है. Eileen looks up, brushing away her tears and smiling at Rita Joe. Rita and Eileen in unison. Would you be my mother then? Now, this line proves, this dialogue proves that they do not have a mother, and that is why they have made a mother out of each other. रीता के लिए एलिन मदर है एंड एलिन के लिए रीता ही मदर है, बिकॉज दे डू नॉट हैव अ मदर. ओके, दे आर मदरलेस चिल्ड्रन. Rita, would I be your mother? Rita Jo releases Eileen, who looks back fearfully to where the murderers had stood. They are gone. She rises and, collecting the buckets, moves hesitantly to where they had been. Confident now, she laughs softly and nervously to the to herself and leaves the stage. Rita Jo rises and talks to Eileen as she departs. Okay, so now we are going to stop here. Okay, we are going to continue from here in the next lecture. Thank you.